Episode 9, The Rise of the Genetic Jackhammer. The dead speak. The galaxy has heard a mysterious broadcast, a threat of revenge in the sinister voice of the late Emperor McMahon. General Stephanie McMahon dispatches secret agents to gather intelligence, while Triple H, the last hope of the Marks, prepares to leak another batch of incriminating documents to the Wall Street Journal. Meanwhile, Supreme Leader John Laryngitis rages in search of at least one Hooters restaurant that will let him through the door.
Vincent Kennedy McMahon, the man who built WWE into the global phenomenon it is today, and sent millions of children to detention for trying the Stone Cold Stunner on their friends, made headlines last summer when he stepped down as executive chairman of WWE. But today, Vince McMahon shocked the world by announcing he intends to return to WWE as the executive chairman. And if you're not caught up on the lore, in July, the Wall Street Journal published an investigation confirming Vince to be a sexual deviant. And that's, putting it lightly. The Journal uncovered hush money payments going back 16 years, totaling over $12 million. And I think there's been a bunch of other ones discovered since then. And since Vince's departure, WWE fans have been treated to a re-energized TV product with Triple H as the head of creative. Fan favorite wrestlers have been brought back. Storylines have been, written a lot more cleanly. And if I'm not mistaken, Paul, storylines have seemed to have had a beginning, a middle, and an end since Triple H took over.
Yeah, but there's also Uncle Howdy.
But overall, WWE's overall ratings trajectory has been upwards since Triple H took over creative. But sometimes we forget that creative isn't the whole company. There's people actually running the business side of things here, and this is where Vince McMahon's return comes in. Let's jump into the Wall Street Journal article and what they've said. Vince McMahon wants back on the board of directors and wants to be reinstated as executive chairman as soon as possible. He's got a lot of urgency in this. He has stated, or threatened for the matter, that he will not approve any deals regarding the renegotiation of TV streaming rights if he is not reinstated as executive chairman. So he's effectively, threatening to tank the company if he doesn't get his way. In this letter that he sent to the shareholders, he pretty much said that there's a great opportunity to maximize value for the shareholders by putting me in charge so that I can oversee the renegotiation of these TV streaming rights or oversee a sale of the company, a potential sale of WWE. That was his whole pitch. He's here for the shareholders, buddy. That's who's near and dear to his heart.
Oh, but wait, Edwin, question. Who's the number one shareholder in the WWE?
I believe, if I'm not mistaken, that is Vincent Kennedy McMahon.
That's what I thought. And I'm sorry, I read this thing today. I've taught preschool, and this story reminded me of like the preschooler who's having a temper tantrum. I want what I want. I want what I want. This is all a big preschool temper tantrum that's going to generate billions of dollars for him. Disgusting.
Yeah, if one of your middle schoolers that you teach had, as much money as Vince does, they could probably just do a hostile takeover of the entire preschool system or something.
Honestly, one of them probably could. It was a fairly exclusive preschool, so I wouldn't be surprised.
Something that really tickled me from the article, from the letter that Vince sent to the board, is Vince made the following statement. He said, WWE has an exceptional management team in place, and I do not intend for my return to have any impact on their roles, duties, or responsibilities. And it reminded me of that Family Guy bit where Peter's like, I think he's trying to talk to Meg's boyfriend, and he's like walking up to the guy's house with a shotgun, and Meg's like, "No, Dad, no." And he's like, I just want to talk to him. I just want to talk to him. I'm gonna talk to him. I'm just gonna talk to him. He walks up, just shoots the guy point blank. That's what's going on here.
Yes, but what he failed to point out is, no, I won't have any impact on creative, but I will still have my Sunday dinner with my family. Oliveck and daughter Stephanie. But we won't be talking business.
That's right. Definitely not.
We won't be talking theories booking. No.
And yeah, obviously that was bullshit because as of this morning, that latest update, Vince McMahon actually is officially back on the board of directors. There's a new document released by WWE, and he is reinstated into the board. Not as executive chairman yet, but he is on the board along with his two buddies you mentioned, and two other directors resigned. So that means keep in mind, and we do the math here, I think I'm right on this. Vince McMahon and his two buddies came back. So that was 3 resignations from the board that had to happen to make that possible. In addition to those 3, 2 other members of the board resigned. They just said, fuck it. I don't want to do this. So that's 5. A change of 5 members of the board of directors after Vince said he doesn't want to impact any of their roles, duties, or responsibilities. So that was bullshit.
It's a lot of math, though, Edwin. I really hope Scott Steiner does an analysis of this using Scott Steiner math. And I bet that by now, Vince McMahon would have 120% control of the board.
The numbers don't lie. And they spell disaster for World Wrestling Entertainment. And I will also add that the one of the guys that just resigned, wasn't even replaced, was the member of the board of directors that led the internal investigation into Vince McMahon's shady sexual misgivings. This couldn't get more succession if you wanted it to. And also, on the second anniversary of Insurrection Day, so it makes all the more sense. I know Vince and Trump are really good buddies, so it's just going back to the old Trump tactics book.
This all makes sense. This all makes sense. Did you really think Vince McMahon would go away quietly? What is the one thing the man does?
He makes bad wrestling shows.
Yeah, that's all he knows at this point.
Yeah, this is the only thing this guy has in life. I don't believe for a second that he wants to sell the company, because then what? He's going to go back personally to doing what he's been doing for the last 6 months, which is nothing, just sitting at home. He's not going to sell it. Are you kidding me?
Oh, I don't know about that, Edwin. If he got enough money, I bet you he would. Because he knows whatever conglomerate buys his company, his baby, it's going to be a horrible business move for them. Just like WCW was for Time Warner. And ultimately, his family can buy it back for 10 cents on the dollar. He might not be alive to see it, but he will know it's going to happen ultimately. It's just a waiting game.
There's a possibility that a big company like Comcast buys it and it just turns into, a forgotten IP. Another thing is, if they are trying to prep themselves for a sale, company sales usually prioritize one thing, and that is maximizing the value of the stock before they sell themselves so that the owners can make as much money as possible. How do you increase the value of your stock before a sale? You have to decrease your expenses, your costs. And here's what I'm talking about. Mass firings to maximize stock value ahead of a sale. All the people that Triple H has brought back, they're about to go back on the carousel, man.
Oh, man.
Everybody... People are going to be sending Tony Khan really nice texts this evening.
But again, to be fair, though, WWE chatbots are going to hate me, if that's a thing. But again, many of the people Triple H has brought back, I really could care less.
Same, honestly. Last potential ramification here. I know you had a really interesting theory on, what could happen with WrestleMania with Vince back at the helm.
Because when I was reading this morning, the one thing I thought of is, who is supposed to be possibly coming to the Royal Rumble and WrestleMania in one form or fashion? The big Hollywood star?
Black Adam himself, The Rock.
The Rock. But, does Rock like a good image or a bad image?
Well, after Black Adam, it's hard to say, but I would imagine he likes to look clean.
Overall, I think he's all about a positive image. I mean, he even talked about being a president one time. Would he want to be involved in a company that recently had this sexual predator come back into power leading this company? Would he want his brand associated with that brand?
Zero freaking chance, especially given all his deals with Disney and whatnot.
But I would think this Vince McMahon return and all the politics, there's no way The Rock would be appearing at WrestleMania with all that involved.
Yeah, the optics would just be not friendly to his career, especially, given that he just got effectively fired by DC. I don't think he wants two big L's back to back as far as PR goes. What has been the reaction from WWE fans and the wrestling community? Obviously, on one end of the board, WWE fans are terrified because they've been enjoying things under Triple H, and this feels like the end of the world, and it just might be,
Don't touch my Gargano.
He's going to go back on. If there's anything lower than main event, that's where Gargano's going. This is the biggest thing to happen in wrestling since Vince McMahon retired, and that was already the biggest thing to happen in wrestling ever. So wrestling fans are understandably terrified. AEW fans are obviously ecstatic, just delighted. This is the greatest thing that's ever happened to them, because the only thing more beneficial to AEW than actually trying to get their shit together from a creative standpoint is Vince McMahon returning to WWE, and it looks like that's going on right now.
And apparently Miro has already agreed to losing a squash match for the All-Atlantic heavyweight title. He's very happy now. Yeah, I can do that. I can do that, sir. Yes, yes, yes.
That's right. And Miro's gonna go right for the all-new Poly-Pacific slap fighting championship after that. Brand new belt in AEW.
Nowhere to see Rodrigo is trying to make a return. We'll see.
Wow. I haven't heard anybody talking about William Regal. He's fucked.
That's why you talk to me, Edwin, because I use my brain.
Wow, left AEW to you go work under Triple H, and now he's not going to be in charge of it anymore. It's gonna be a wild next couple months for WWE, and most of the endgame scenarios here are not good because they involve either WWE being sold or Vince McMahon being back in charge.
I think you're looking at through the short-term prism. Yes, short-term wrestling is going to hell in a handbasket. But in the long term, wrestling is like the cockroach of civilization. It will always rebound bigger and better than ever.
There we go. Way more positive note to end on. But what do you think is going to happen with the WWE? Are you looking forward to having Vince McMahon back in charge of WWE? Let us know in the comments. And if you've enjoyed the conversation, don't forget to like and subscribe. We are the primordial wrestling insiders on the internet. You don't have to listen to anybody else but us. And I will add to that nobody should be listening to us. And with that, this has been the Jobbing Jabronis Wrestling Podcast.